Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to another session. How was the day today? How was your day at office? If you're working from home still, then you're lucky still. How was the day at office and how was the day with your portfolio? Just let me know in your comment section. While we wait for others to join, we have just 5 people. Maybe I join a bit early. I don't know. But yeah, while we wait for others, let's probably let me know how was the day, especially with your portfolio. I think our portfolio again hit fresh high backed by LXCHEM again. I think a lot of people would have thought that yesterday LXCHEM and many people would book profits, but yeah, we've again hit an upper circuit today in LXCHEM. And also TATALXSI is kind of did well today. We thought it was kind of going to retest again the levels of 4600, but yeah, it did well. Even Cummins has closed above a very key level after many days. So I think overall the stocks that we're holding are kind of doing pretty well, and I think we've hit almost 10%. We're up almost 10% in our portfolio, right? So if you are enjoying this and if you're learning, I'm really happy. But if you're following the trades, if you're taking the trades, and if you're making money as well, I know a few people already do. But if you're making money, then do let me know. Especially if you're following the same exact replicate of the portfolio, then yeah, it's time that you start doing your own trades as well. But I think yeah, it's been what, almost 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and I think we're doing really well till now. And I hope everyone is learning. So hi Shiva, hey Aditya. Yeah, Aditya, we'll look at that. I think Canara Bank is a really good setup. I think I covered this sometime back. It's a really good setup for swing. Krishnavini, hi. Monk, hi. Hey Tabitha, hey Vallabh, hey Shankar, hey Hemant. Hi Dinesh, hi Utkarsh. Sagar says portfolio was down. Yeah, I think Nifty was down, but small cap was kind of close, I think around 0.3%. Yes, Dinesh, Lakshmik Organics continues to be our biggest performer. We'll see how we're going to trail our stop loss today. As discussed yesterday, I said if we cross 454, then probably we need to revise the stop loss and try to protect that money. So let's see today how we're going to do that. Hi Prakash, hi Kumragiri. Ratnesh asking my view on gold for next 2-3 days. I am not such a short-term trader as well, but I'll definitely share my view on gold and silver. Okay, yeah, so let's get started. So Nifty finally had a red day after what, how many days of green? So I think that's clearly a sign for pause in Nifty. The trend, a lot of people I've seen saying it's testing the parallel channel top. At least I've seen a couple of people. Now, the problem with parallel channel is, you can keep modifying the parallel channel as much as you want, right? So for example, some might say that this is probably a top, right? Could be a top, no one knows. But some also can say that yesterday I did see one of the handles posting this as top yesterday when we had a rejection here and kind of going down, but then we broke out about that and we went high. Now, no matter what, I think both the views, that's why I said channels can be drawn however you want. That's why I don't really, even that my handle is Trendline Investor, I sometimes use it only for breakouts, and after breakouts I always say, you should be sticking to your swing highs and swing lows. Now, the primary reason I say is just because of this, right? So you can draw a trend line like this. In this case, it's not even touched. Probably, yes, we're almost there. That's a valid trend line. But, you can have cases where you also draw a trend line from here and then you do that, and then you can probably have something like that or something like that. So the trend lines are really subjective. It depends on the person who draws it. So you need to be really careful when you draw trend lines, and it needs some kind of an experience, and you need to probably go more if you're a beginner especially, don't focus on trend lines and focus on horizontal setups like these, right? These are beautiful horizontal setups, and they might help you make money than trend lines help you make money. This doesn't mean that I am saying that trend lines are bad. It's just that you need some more experience before you learn to draw those trend lines, right? That's why I say if you really want a beginner, then probably focus on weekly charts and start from there. That's where you're start really drawing trend lines from. And then as you get into the daily charts and hourly charts, trend lines can be more susceptible to breaking or breaking out, breaking down, and it can be really quick, right? For example, a simple case of this one which I was just tracking during my day-to-day. So I thought that this was probably a head and shoulders, right? So this is probably a left shoulder, then we had a head, then we had a right shoulder. Now, so if you've been practicing trend lines, then probably you'd have identified this. But then even if you don't know trend lines, then all you have to do is just short below that point, or just short, below the swing low here, right? So we had a breakdown, a kind of retest, right? And then we kind of are going down. So there are multiple ways to trade, as I always say. All you need to know is what is your setup that you like to trade, and do you really know trend lines that well so that you can use trend lines, because a lot of big handles you do use trend lines. But if you're a beginner, then you should not focus on short-term trades using trend lines. It can easily break out. For example, if you see here, it kind of had a quick breakout, had a retest, and these kind of moves can really create panic, right? So if you're really a beginner, then focus on long-term charts, right? Like for example, Adani ports, right? So we did discuss this, and we said this is probably a bottom in place. It's already there. So already that's a bottom in place, and we're kind of heading from there. Now that's a very easy trend line, because even if stop loss hits, it will take few more days or weeks before your theory goes, before your assumption is wrong or right? So start off from higher time frames and then move on to lower time frames. Okay, so yeah, let's look at Nifty, and then we can take it forward from there. So Nifty had a red day, as I said, and on the shorter time frames, we have moved from an uptrend to an hour downtrend. If you see, we had continuous seeing highs, so we broke out from here with a gap up, and we had continuous high lows, and for the first time, we have kind of broken a very important, swing low, and we have also did a retest here around that zone, right? So we kind of broke down, we kind of tried to retest, and we have again broken down. So the trend, short-term trend, is probably down to sideways, and I think from here we might pause for some more time, and all kinds of trend lines have been broken down, to be honest. And for example, you can also draw a parallel channel here, right? So take a line here. If you draw here, connecting that point there, right? So probably that, right? So you could say this is final spike before it comes back inside the trend line, kinds of breaks down. Now, some people might also draw it this way, connecting that point there, then you see that point here and that point there. So there are multiple ways to draw trend lines. So as I said, but for now, the trend on Nifty is clearly down on the short term. On the 5 minutes or 15 minutes time frame, it's down. So any rise towards tomorrow towards 1770, or even towards 17 or 17,100 levels, right? So any attempt towards this level can be clearly used for shorting, and with a stop around that point, so around 40-point stop, and you can probably short this market for lower levels as well. But if you see on the early charts, we are forming the first dip, right? So this is the first dip on the early charts since this breakout here, right? Since that breakout there, this is the first dip that we're forming. So this dip might last for probably a few hours to probably few days as well, no one knows. But yeah, that's how I'd be looking at. So if you're probably trading Nifty, you would be probably on the 5 minutes or 15 minutes time frame, and for now the trend is short. As I said, any rise towards 17,080, 17,100 levels can be used for shorting, and with a stop around 17,145. Okay, now if you want to try longs, then it's very clear the longs should be attempted only above 17,145, right? So that's the level above which you again get the higher lows. So you need to understand this price action, right? So we have formed lower high, lower lows, and now if we cross that level again, then we're forming new high lows, right? So then yeah, that's the level we want to cross, above which you can go long. So I've given my levels. So below, so you can already short the current market, probably the stop around 1710, or wait for a retest to 70,100 or 70,070, and then you can short again. And long is clearly only above 70,150 levels. Okay, so that's the Nifty outlook. If you follow my Nifty outlook who's here, we have 22 people. I just want to understand. I know there are a couple of people who follow, but if you do follow my Nifty outlook, or if it helps you understand the markets better, then let me know. Okay, but interesting thing that happened today was the small cap index kind of ended up positive, right? We've closed up, we are right around that level, right around that 10,300, and we made a fresh high. So we crossed above the previous. So it's a very good sign for the small cap index, right? So we kind of had a dip in the morning, and then we kind of rose. So when Nifty was going up, we kind of had a dip, and then Nifty started coming down, the small caps index started going up. So that's some kind of strength that I am seeing in the the small caps. Let's take a look at mid cap, right? So mid cap already has made a new high, right? So that's clear signs that yeah, probably we have made a very clear bottom, and we are probably heading higher from here. So while Nifty consolidates, small cap and mid cap still can go high. We've seen that before recently in the last many months, how the small cap mid cap was outperforming. But I'm just going to take a look at our favorite long-term resistance just to understand where we are on that long term, right? So we are right close to that point again, right? So yeah, probably around that point, right? So you can draw a line like that, touching that wick there, or you can also do this right now. That's why I say it's all subjective, right? So this might be right, or even this might be right. No one knows. For that, you have to wait for some time and then see. And that's why instead of waiting, just keep a stop loss in your stocks and just continue to hold them, right? The markets tell you whether you're right or not, but you can never always get a trend line right? That's the ideology behind that. Okay, yeah, so that's the update on the small caps and mid caps. I think Bank Nifty has been one of the best performers last couple of days, but today we had a kind of a sell-off right at the top. But we did have a breakout in Bank Nifty. So Bank Nifty stocks are actually looking very good, and yeah, that's the level that we've broken out of. And then we had one doji, and now we've kind of had a sell-off. Now this doesn't mean that tomorrow Bank Nifty will come down. Maybe yes, maybe no. All you need to know is whether tomorrow it can form inside bar, then maybe then it can follow up on that move again sometime later, right? So yeah, Bank Nifty also looks good. CNX Metal is one of the underperformers last few weeks, right? So see, we fill the gap and we're kind of again heading down. Now that's the problem with caps. Now even the small cap, mid cap, if you've seen, I already mentioned that we must fill that gap, and then only we must head higher. Only then you can confirm that trend is still intact, right? So for now, I'd still be worried about CNX Metal. It's still going sideways. Yeah, not really worried, because if you're investing, then probably your stop would be much lower. But for now, yes, I'd probably wait for this couple of more days and then take a look. Okay, so that's the view on some of the indices. Let's jump into our portfolio. Right, so we don't have cash left, so we're up around 10%. We just started 4-5 weeks back, 13th of July, and now we are on the 1st of September. So sorry, 13th of, I'm getting the date wrong. So 13th of July. So around 5 weeks we have done, and we're up 10%. That's a pretty decent number, right? So when small caps and mid caps are going down, we are kind of up. And if you've seen, majority of gains have come in the last 3-4 days, and that's what happens to your portfolio. There'll be days when your portfolio will be down. There'll be days when your portfolio will really do well, especially led by a few stocks, and that's what you need to keep holding on to, right? So portfolio has done well. We're up 2.6%. Yeah, orders as such, there's nothing to update. Let's take a look at the stocks. So remember, we have broken out of LXCHEM, we've broken out of the channel, and we have kind of had a retest, and probably today's day up, right? So again, I'll just get the volume indicator so that we can see that. Yeah, so yesterday we had a very good volume, but that there was no follow through sell off. Now this is what I say, right? So just because you see a red candle with massive volumes doesn't mean it's sell off. Now we might again go below this high, probably fill this gap, no one knows, but for now this doesn't look like a sell off for me. All we see is a good day again today with massive volumes, right? Very good volumes, and it's an inside bar. So probably we might form one more inside bar, and then probably we can come down or go higher, no one knows. But for now, what we're going to do is we are up almost from 280, we're up to 480, so that's 200 points, and we're up almost 1.7, yeah, whatever that percentage is. But in a portfolio, we are overall up around 42%. All right, that is after pyramiding. Now I want to protect at least some of these profits, because this has come really quick, and we are a positional trader, we're not investors here. So I just want to protect my portfolio here. And here, what I'm going to do is, if I'm going to consider this as a retest, so 431 is the point, where yesterday we had a massive dip, and then we said above this point, we said above that point, if we cross again, then we'll trail a stop. So this morning we had a gap up, and then we kind of went sideways, and then we just went higher. So the trend looks really good. So I'm going to move my stop to yesterday's low, which is 431. So I'm going to keep it probably 430. And if you feel that this gap might fill, and if you're a little conservative, you can keep it 400. But I'm okay if the stop hits here. I'm going to keep it 430, the stop, and I also revised that already, right? So as of today, we are locking in around 6% of overall portfolio. And as of today, at 488 is what I was closing price. We are already up 10R in this trade, which means we risked 1 rupee in this trade, and we made 10 times the risk on this single trade, right? And if you've seen our Overall losses were 3,400 till now what we have booked, and just with this trailing stop loss we have covered all our trades and we are up 2.5% now. So if we see a portfolio heat, now we are positive. Now from here onwards, the chances of your portfolio going down is very, very, very less, right? So that's the biggest advantage. Knowing where you are now, you're very comfortable. You can probably take higher risks if you want, probably 1.5% or 2% of portfolio as well, because now you know if all our stop losses hit today, we'll just be down 10.25%. But don't be over aggressive as well. The maximum, I said as always, the maximum you can risk is just 2% of your portfolio on any single trade. Okay, so that's the LXCHEM stop loss. So next is Fortis. Fortis kind of is going sideways again. Just go to the daily chart. We're kind of going sideways. There's not much happening. So, but I think our stop loss is around this hourly low, which is around 269, right? So that's a stop. We'll continue to keep that as a stop, and we'll see how far this can go. Okay. Then the other stock that we have is Cummins. Cummins has given a very decent close. So what it has done is today, if you've noticed, we have been focused on this point over here, right? So that's the level that we've been focused on, and this is kind of rectangle setup. We spoke about that as well. And today we have closed above that zone, right? Today we're kind of closed above that zone, and I think we might head higher in the next couple of days towards 1030, 1050 levels. Okay, let's see. So, but overall now what I'm doing is I've trailed my stop to 970. Okay, so 970 is my stop, new stop now. For Cummins, we're still losing 300 rupees in this trade. That's because of recent addition that we made, right? Now, if you notice, we didn't really trail a stop here, right? So once we went all the way up from here to here, we just moved a stop to cost, which was 950, and then we added more around 1000, right? So now, since we have a clear base on the hourly charts, I'm moving my stop here. Okay, so that's the Cummins trade. TATALXSI, again, our stop loss was here, 4600, 4600, and we continue to keep it there. Again, here, it's not doing much. We've not gone anywhere. Actually, I thought we kind of broke down, but today kind of had a gap up and be sideways, right? So these are the 4 trades that we are holding, all with decent position sizes. And if you see, as of today's, the current portfolio weightage is the highest in LXCHEM. We have 34% weightage for LXCHEM. Fortis has 30% weightage, 25 for TATALXSI, and 25 for Cummins India. So that's the weightage. I think it's a really good allocation. We have some of the strongest stocks in our portfolio. Let's see where our portfolio goes. But don't forget, the key learning here should be a portfolio heat, right? So once your portfolio heat is positive, that's when it gives you a lot of comfort, and you can sleep peacefully, really. And even if you have big positions, you don't have to worry, really. And you're up 10% in a week, in 5 weeks, and that's a really good job. That's what you have to pat yourself. If you've done that along with me, you have to really pat yourself and say, good job done. And I would also say that, just let me know if you've been following. And if you haven't been able to make this kind of return, if you've made more, then I would love to learn from you. But yeah, that's how we've been trading. Okay, so I'll stop here for this. If you have any questions on the strategy or anything, let me know, or on what we discussed, let me know in the comment section. I can take up those questions. Okay, so yeah, let's look at your comments for today. Aditya, let's start from yours. ICICI, GI. I think the entire insurance space is kind of coming back from hibernation. I think even a few other insurance stocks are doing well, right? So that's a very, very good breakout in ICICI Lombard. I think this has been frustrating many people, but it's almost a very, very good breakout. Now, yeah, right. So we've kind of had a fresh high. So a good swing trade, and here, if you see, we kind of had this ascending triangle breakout, right? So this is how you have to draw your trend lines. You can draw however you want. You can extend it till here as well. Okay, but if you're holding this week was a confirmation that the bottom is in place, right? And you see this demand popping up everywhere when it comes to that zone, right? So whenever it comes down, you see the demand popping up. And this week, after 4 weeks of consecutive red candles, you had the first week where you had a doji, and the next week was a confirmation, right? So probably you could have added here around the zone if you had a very good eye to your weekly charts and all that. Then that could have been probably a good trade to take there, and you could have probably even did a quick swing trade for that targets of all-time high, right? So there are many ways to trade, as I said, but Aditya, that's a good swing trade. You can probably expect, if you're doing positional, probably can expect targets of 300 points, 250 points from here. Okay, so that's good. It looks good, right? So Canara Bank also was in my radar, but yeah, it's an FNO ban. So if you don't know yet, so I've already drawn this symmetrical triangle if you see here, and also I've drawn some charts on the intraday charts as well, right? If you see it perfectly reversed from the trend line this morning, and then it went higher, right? So trend lines do work on the intraday time frames. If you, I did not draw it right now, I just drew it already and kept. So it did reverse perfectly. And again here, if you see, if you had really a keen observer of price action, you'd have observed that the selling is kind of over here, right? Because you had the first big red candle, there was a follow-up buying, it again dipped, it did not go below that red candle, and again kind of had a shakeout here. So if your stop losses were around 157, 157.3, you'd have been stopped out, but that was a beautiful trend line reversal, right? And then we had a follow-through buying. So there are multiple ways to do, but just remember trend lines do not work very well in intraday. They do work, but you have to be really careful because this can easily break down because it's a very short-term trend line. And the longer the duration, the trend line is much reliable. The shorter duration, the trend line is not that reliable. So also just to remind you, I have written this in my blog about how significant the trend line, what significance, the importance of trend line. Just go through this. It might really help you understand trend lines. But Aditya, coming back to your question, I think it's a really good setup, kind of a symmetrical triangle breakout yesterday itself. And then today we just had a follow-up buy, and today was inside bar, so probably if it heads higher again above 162 odd levels, it can head much higher from here. But it's one of the good setups in the PSU bank space, right? So if you see, that's also horizontal breakout. So we had multiple, it's inverted head and shoulders breakout on this day on 31st August. It's also symmetrical triangle on the long-term charts. That's since Feb, right? So that's a 7-month symmetrical triangle breakout. And again, as I always say, go to the long-term charts and your weekly charts, and you'll see this beautiful consolidation since this week. Since the June, it's been two months, 2.5 months of just sideways movement, and now this can really give a good move, right? And that's how you look at this chart. Now if you just extend this little higher, you will also see that this is probably an inverted head and shoulders pattern as well, right? It's not a perfect inverted head and shoulders pattern, but it's probably an inverted head and shoulders pattern. So this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder. This is a complex right shoulder, you can say. Probably should have broken out here itself, but then it just went some more sideways. So this is a right shoulder, the head, and the left shoulder. Okay, again a very good swing trade, Aditya. You can probably see quick levels of 173 odd, and that's where I see some resistance here. If you see, this is the previous breakdown just before the COVID crash, and then we retested that level again. We came down, and probably we can head towards 230 odd levels in the next many months. But two good setups. I hope you like the analysis, and if you have any questions on this, let me know. But that's how you analyze multi-time frame, right? Let's say some hellos and next move on. Yeah, hi Kumragari. Ratnesh is asking, can you please share your view on gold for the next 2-3 days, gold and silver? I think gold is forming again an inverted head and shoulders pattern. I did post this on my Twitter thread as well, right? So that's probably the left shoulder, that left shoulder, head, and probably the right shoulder, right? And if you see here, this, I already drawn this and kept this channel here. So since this channel had a breakout, we just did a retest of the channel, right? Now you're asking me a view for next 2-3 days. I really have no view, but one thing you can notice is if we kind of break out from that trend line, right? Or let's see if this is a trend line, right? So we are probably, we have broken down from this downtrend, and probably one last thing is this one, right? So if we cross above that level, so if we cross above 1820 odd on the USD, then probably we can see 1834 odd, and then probably even higher levels. But I think gold is kind of doing, the pattern looks really good. The downtrend has broken out, and we might probably head higher. This was a good day, green candle, everything looks bullish. Probably sideways might happen, but I don't see it coming down. Now for the next 2-3 days, I really don't have any idea, Ratnesh, what will happen. But yeah, you can take a trade. If you're taking a long trade, just keep a stop around 1800, or just buy above 1823 levels. Okay, so that's the view on gold. Okay, silver again. Let's see what I've drawn some time back. Yeah, it's a rectangle consolidation, right? So if you see this, I've drawn this already, and this was a perfect time to buy this week, right? And then we had one inside bar, again kind of an inside bar, not a perfect, but probably we're heading higher towards 28.9 levels. So yeah, this has been a long rectangle consolidation, but the real momentum would come out by 9 when we cross above that horizontal line. Okay. Yeah, this, I think I did this sometime back, but this consolidation has been going since more than 1 year. Since last August, it's been a 1 year consolidation. So we probably need to have some patience, but the best point was to buy here. Okay, so that's my take on gold and silver. Next 2-3 days, again, I am not sure what will happen. Probably, yeah, it needs to break out and then probably we can head higher. Okay, that downtrend is still not taken out. Okay, so that's my view, Ratnesh. Binay is asking Mitomo. I think we've covered this already. It is kind of, we said short-term bottom is in place and we should head higher from there. And the reason I said that was, we had this kind of consolidation move and we moved higher, right? That's short-term breakout there. And now I think we might head back again towards 450 levels, 460, 470, and then probably fresh highs. But as I always said, it is very good to keep trailing a stop. This is a long-term uptrend and it can just keep heading higher. Okay, so that's my view. Today was Nifty Reality Day. Krishnavani, yes. Shobha and a few other stocks did well. That was a massive move. But again, here, right? So you should have noticed this point where index was retesting. I had mentioned in the newsletter, then we had inside days, and then we kind of took off, right? So always momentum takes time to develop after retest, but it will come back at some point. So now Shobha has given a strong breakout. Also, someone recommended this yesterday, or someone asked this. But now we have this week, if we close above this point, then probably we've had a breakout, and that's that can take it to probably to 800, 900 levels or even 1000 levels. Okay, but overall, the entire realty sector has broken out from a very, very long consolidation since 2008. I did post this on Twitter some time back. We had this breakout in July, and probably we are heading higher. Okay, so that's a breakout since last 10 to 15 years. Okay. Hi, Arun. Ben is asking again, India Bulls. Okay, so that's the downtrend. We kind of had a failed breakout there this month, right? Just looking at the charts. Yeah, it has reversed from unknown zone. I don't know where the support here is. Yeah, it's not really a proper zone where I would at least buy. Yeah, but seems like a short-term bottom is in place, and today was good volumes. So if you're holding, then yeah, you can keep a stop at 217, 215 odd, and you can buy above. You can already about today, or you can hold the trade already. But this is still in a downtrend. I still don't see the higher forming. So only if it comes above, levels of this support, right? So we kind of broke down from here, and we kind of had a retest there. So unless it doesn't come above 260 odd levels, then I'd still probably be little hesitant to take this trade. And also it has to cross this bearish trend line. So until all this happens, I'd still be a little bearish. I'd not take really a bet on the stock right now until it breaks out from this downward trend line and forms higher lows. Okay, so that's my view. Harish is asking Max Health. Is it? Yeah. This is a very short-term stock. Maybe a parallel channel, yes, but this is a very short-term parallel channel. I don't really rely on short-term parallel channels, right? But it has done a breakout. You see that middle channel is asking beautifully as resistance. Yeah, just keep a stop around 319, 318 odd. Entry, it's up to you. I don't know. I always it's up to you when you want to enter, but stop loss is 319. Okay. Prestige. Yeah, Prestige also looks good. The entire real estate sector looks good. It has able to kind of cross again that level. So tomorrow if it closes over 377, it also looks good. The stop here can be 324. Okay. Okay, Nifty outlook is useful. Thanks, Shiva, for input. Maybe real estate. Yeah, it's also reversing. It's just a breakout retest, and it's given a good reversal today, really good reversal. So that's the zone probably when it retested, and now it's just ready to move higher. Right, it's a very good stop loss. So today, even if you enter tomorrow, you have just a 12-point stop loss, right? So that's around 10%, 8% stop loss. It looks good. The structure is intact, Krishnavani. So go ahead. Long-term trend lines. Okay, let's look at it, Krishnavani. Yeah, so that was a bottom, perfect bottom in place. The long-term trend line here should be from here probably. Okay, so if you're looking at a trend line, then probably that's the level you have to look at. Yeah, don't always obsess yourself with drawing the perfect trend lines. There's no perfect trend line, to be honest. It's all up to how you see. So once it crosses levels of 270 odd, then we can see a much better move higher. So probably towards levels of 800 or 700 in long term. But for now, there's a very strong resistance around 260, 270. It's right now just at 140. So still a good time to buy with just a stop around 130 odd. Okay. Okay, many people are saying Nifty outlook is good. Thank you. So I was asking, when you look at a chart and price candle structure such that it's an obvious buy, but when you execute the trade fails. My question is, does very obvious chart structure fails often or no, or at all? See, I think that's more of your execution. Maybe you would have faced a couple of failures, but you just go through my charts on Twitter and you will understand how you enter, how you exit. Now, obviously, you can't have a 100% accuracy rate. Even a 40% rate with a good risk reward, you can still be very profitable in the long run. Now, if you've seen, out of the last many trades we entered, we hit so many stops, right? But still our portfolio is up just because of few trades. Now, does that mean breakouts fail? No, maybe the market wasn't right enough, right? The market situation wasn't enough for us to enter. That's why we hit so many stops, right? So we lost, this is the money that we lost. But that shouldn't stop you from taking the next trade, right? So because you always have your risk in place, and breakouts tend to fail, and that's why even pullbacks tend to fail. So all strategies will have some accuracy problem. But if you have an accuracy of around 40%, and if you have more than 1.2, 1.3 risk reward, then probably you'll do well in the long run. But try to have an accuracy around 40-50%. And if you're hitting a series of stop losses, then kind of cut down on your risk, go from 1% to 0.5%, and then you will see, and probably market will reverse, and then you will know that the market is reversed finally. So obvious chart patterns don't fail. To be honest, I've shown again a Nifty example. Right? Nifty is one of the most popularly traded instruments. Now here I did speak about this cup and handle breakout. Right, this was a very obvious pattern for most of them, and it kind of had a good move. Right now, obvious pattern that I'm recently trading is United Spirits. Right now, this is a very long-term symmetrical triangle breakout, and here if you see, this is a very obvious pattern, right? Because this is a nice symmetrical triangle breakout which has happened in the month of August, and this is a very obvious pattern. But will it fail? No, it won't fail. Or if it fails, your stop loss hits. That's all. But most of the times, patterns do work, because patterns is created because of crowd psychology, because there are millions of people who trade, emotions and all that involves. And now, since this stock has been moved along, now it will probably head higher. Now, even in this intraday, if you look, there was a cup and handle here, right? So if you see, this was the cup and that was the handle, right? And we had a nice move, right? Also, we had a base formation here. So it all depends on whether you're able to digest those losses, right? I can give you many examples, like Nestle, right? So Nestle is again one of the most biggest companies in terms of market cap. Now again, if you see here, this was a proper contraction, right here. This was a proper contraction, right? So after this big candle, literally market didn't go anywhere, and then it just had a one-way move up. So it all depends on how you accept those failures and how you trade them. Now this was a breakout failure, right? Now this was a breakout and this was a failure because it came back inside. But then your stop should have been around this point, right? Now always, if you still remember, if it's 17,353, I'll keep it at 17,300, so that I just give some room. Now you should also try to keep, if you're afraid of your stop loss hit, then you can probably use some 2-3% down from this point, right? But there will always be breakout failures like this, and then it will consolidate and again head higher. But as I said, it's your courage and your psychology of how you handle the trade. Sagar is asking view on Banco. Let's look at it, right? And then probably this was a good point to add around this point or somewhere around here, right? So there could multiple points. So wait for consolidation, then add. Now the stock has gone one way up from 160 to 223, and tomorrow what if it comes back all the way to 177? No one knows. So I'm not really comfortable in taking such trades when it's already up so much. It doesn't matter in which time frame. For me, a stock which has already moved up a lot doesn't really make sense to add unless I don't have a proper risk reward setup. or a place where risk is hardly 10%. Right? But yeah, this has a lot of potential to head towards 350, 330 odd levels. But the point is, are you willing to take that dip if it happens tomorrow all the way to the previous swing low, which is around 177? Right? That's the question Sagar you should ask. Short-term view on Mithun alloys. I don't really have a short-term, long-term view. All I know is just follow the trend. So Mithun alloys has broken the previous swing low, which is not good, and it is kind of facing resistance around that point. You see, it kind of dipped yesterday. Now it might have formed a short-term bottom. No one knows. I'm just checking the long-term charts. It still has some time to go up. It's still just consolidating probably around the all-time high. But the trend right now, this very short-term trend is down. Okay, but if you want to enter, I'd probably wait for yesterday's high to cross around 1010, and then you can enter probably for the next many months. But if you're entering about 1010 or 1000 levels, then keep a stop around 900 levels, and probably it can go higher in the next many months. But I see some potential here. This is probably a dip on the weekly or on the monthly also, no one knows. This is the first dip in the monthly charts as well, so you can still go ahead if you want, but keep a stop around 900 odd, and you can hold it for the next few months. Utkarsh is asking views on Intellect. Yeah, so this has broken out from this long-term channel, right? So I've already drawn this channel. So that was a awesome breakout from that point. So since 2015, it was a 6 years breakout, and then we had this one-way move up, and it broke out from this trend line, and it's just kind of consolidating. So again, short-term trend is completely down. So it is completely going sideways. It's making lower highs, lower lows. So I wouldn't be really interested in buying the stock. If I want, probably I'll consider this above 690 odd levels, but for now I don't consider the stock. Okay, because the structure is completely bad. Okay, so that's my view, Utkarsh. Harish, yes, I will make a video on that. When you're asking, when you look at constant portfolio allocation, do you look on based on original cost or on current value? Like what? I didn't get that question. Maybe you want to rewrite it. But I've discussed that all. I've discussed how I look at the portfolio. It's always on the overall portfolio. I'm not sure what your question is. Maybe you can write it again. I can try answer. Pushpa asking my view on graphite. Yeah, again, yeah, probably this is just looking. Yeah, so this is a very strong support. It's the very first major dip on the weekly charts. It's a very strong support around 570 odd levels. So 560, 570 is a very strong support. And yeah, I'm seeing demand around that zone. So there was demand here, there was demand. So 570, 60, 70 is a very good level. But if you want to add fresh positions, then add only above 790. Okay, 790, 780. So that's probably might go on for some more time. Probably let's take a look at the trend lines. Yeah, the trend line also is down. So yeah, it might go sideways for some more time. The short-term trend is consolidation. It's going sideways. You can clearly see that. But if you want to add about 800 levels, 790, 800 level, above that high is when I'll add, then you keep a stop. Or, so right now what we have done is, it has had a dip, right? So this is previous high. Now we had a rise. Again, this is probably a lower high compared to this, but we've not broken this previous low. So the structure is still intact. I'd just probably wait for 800 levels to cross, and then I can add more. But for the entire position, if you're holding it right now, your stop loss should be clearly 560 odd, and then just hold on to it. But short-term trend looks sideways. It might take some more time before it heads higher. Okay, also volume is completely drying up. So yeah, some more days before we head high probably. Utkarsh, buy me a coffee link is broken. Okay, maybe you can try a newsletter, or just try in some of the videos. It should work badly. Or just search for Trendline Investor on buy me a coffee. Yes, so for people who are who don't know, you can also buy me a coffee if you like my work. Just support me. Okay. Krishna is saying this newsletter stock. I'm sorry, Mr. Stocks cross whatsoever. Should we wait for 750 or start nibbling in? You can already start adding in. Krishna, the trend is purely up, so you can start adding. I'm just looking for any strategy related questions. Okay. Yeah, let's come back to some. So Amrita Jain setup looks similar to HAL. 715 can be entry if it reverses, and swing low as stop loss 674. Yes, let's take a look. Amrita Jain. Yes, it looks similar to HAL. There's a gap down and then it's just going sideways, right? So the entire so just trying to get that selling absorption is being absorbed around the heights, around the levels of that level. So above 750, yes, you can enter, and your swing low is 674. You can keep 650, right? So 650 and enter above 740. That's a good one, Prakash. I'm happy you're learning. Yes, RPG Life Science is looking good. In fact, I think it had a nice breakout already, I think sometime back. It's a nice, beautiful long-term channel, and it might head higher. Okay, so also if you see here, it has broken out even from the horizontal consolidation. So it's a beautiful setup. You can go ahead. I think today is the breakout, but just wait for this week's confirmation, or you can even add now. You don't have to wait. Stop loss is 475. You can add even now. Volumes look fantastic as well. Okay. Karthik, I've analyzed the Canada Bank. Just do a playback and you will find my analysis. Okay. Fortis has trendline breakdown RA time frame and no demand seen near trendline support, but heavy selling came in. I think I've already analyzed Fortis. Don't go to 15 minute time frame. Hourly is more than enough. You don't have to really go into 15 minutes. That's too short. Probably you can look at it, but it's just a sideways consolidation. First, always look at the higher time frame, what's happening, and then you can go to the hourly time frame, right? So hourly time frame, we did form a base and then we went high. Now it is not broken the swing low yet. Until this 270 is not broken, the swing low is still intact, right? So that's a swing low, and we had a new high. Now it can come all the way to 270 and then again head higher. Okay, so that's how you look at it. Prabjot is asking on India Cement. So India Cement again had a breakdown, right? So in that entire sell-off that we saw, it kind of had a breakdown, but let's just see where it reversed. So there was a major support around that zone, right? So there was a major support, and it kind of has reversed. If you see last week there was a demand, and this week today it's kind of reversed. So yeah, it can head higher again. All it needs to do is probably save. It should not go below 150 odd levels, and it can head higher. Okay. But I see some major resistance here, probably around 190 we might see some resistance, and also around this zone, right? So around 180 also. So probably it might go down for some more days, but unless 150 is not crossed, then until then it's safe. But probably we might see some more sideways and then head higher. Have patience and it might do well. Okay, also from the cement sector, I think this is one of the stock is kind of a good stock, not like some great stocks like Sridhar Cement and all, they are really good, or JK Lakshmi, but given that this is in a long-term consolidation, right? Since 2007 it's just been going sideways. Now, yeah, many people did post this breakout here, but I don't see that as a valid trend line, because it just had two touch points and the third touch point was not really respected. So that's not really a right trend line according to me, but we are seeing some major sell-off around that zone, right? So around that zone, we're seeing some major sell-off, and it might take some more time. So just have some patience. Probably we are forming a cup and handle, and then we head higher. But unless 150 is not crossed below, it's safe. Happiest Minds, Rohit is asking. Yeah, now this is exactly what happened in Indiamart, right? So we've been having demand. So this is after this massive move, we've just been going sideways, right? That's still a very good setup to trade. If you've seen, we had a similar kind of setup here. We had almost 6 weeks, 5 weeks, and now here it's a 7th week of consolidation, and we're just going sideways, right? Now, if you want to completely keep stop loss for your positions, you can keep it around here, around 1135, because there's always a chance it might come all the way down here. Or if you're an aggressive trader, then you can also keep your stop around 1290 odd. Okay, but for me, the strength would come back in Happiest Minds once it crosses this zone, right? So that's, if you see, and just delete the others so that you don't get confused. So above this highs of 1475 is when I see again another move up. But this is a beautiful trend. You just need to have some patience, and it might head higher. Okay, so PEL, Pyramid Enterprises. Again, the trend is superb. And I think this is probably a trend line retest, right? Not a perfect one. Yeah, it's not a perfect one, but yeah, it's just hovering around that trend line support, right? So yeah, you can already start looking at this. It might give a good swing trade. Stop loss is 2500, which is also the retest of the previous breakout. So I think it's also a FNO stock. So yeah, you might want to consider that as well. So also this trend line is there. Short term, we just kind of reversed from that. So probably another 1 or 2 days, and then we're probably heading higher again. Okay, so pyramidal again looks fantastic. The structure is superb. It's just a retest of the previous breakout. Okay, that's my view. So I was asking views on roof villa. Yeah, it's again a nice uptrend, right? So the uptrend is still intact, so no problems here. So us on the long-term charts also, it looks beautiful. It has managed to break out the previous all-time high. So yeah, I think it's in the textile space, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, we've had some amazing volumes. It's just consolidating around the all-time high. All you need is just patience, right? So every time there's a breakout, you need some patience, and then it might head higher and higher. But no one knows how far. So just trail your stop loss. Your stop loss, if you want, is around 90 odd levels. Okay. Guys, stop posting so many times. I'm answering all questions, so it's okay. I will try to answer. I take time and answer. So please stop, spamming so many comments. It really is difficult to read the comments here. Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion, Utkarsh. I'm going to probably charge, for queries. It's just getting too much. We already crossed 45 minutes, but yeah, I'll definitely think of that. Thanks, Utkarsh, for your suggestion. IEX again, Binay, you've been with me for so many days. I think when I pyramid, I'll probably wait for a consolidation and then pyramid. So for now, it has just been a crazy move up. I will not add right now. Okay, so since 441 is a good price, so you might want to wait for some more time. It will again form a dip. So you see, after every move there's a dip, right? After every move there's a dip. So you need to wait for the dip and then buy again more. Okay, India Bulls housing, I've already given my views. Deba Brata, so go back and just play back. I've already shared my views on India Bulls. Last question for the day is from Nishant Shende. View on Gayatri projects, good to enter at 47.5 demand zone. Yes, let's look at it, Shende. Yes, it does look like a good breakout retest. So all we need is a move back again, but it's a good point to at least do your first position. Probably your stop loss can be around 40 levels, 38 levels as well, right? So it's a bit deep stop loss, but if you want to, another strategy is enter about today's high 51 and keep your stop at 46, which is today's low. So that's also another way to do it. If this is a breakout retest, then it should cross over 46.4. So keep buy stop above 46.4 and keep your stop 51 and keep your stop at 46. Yeah, that's also another way to buy. Okay, so I think I've answered all of your questions. Yeah, also Gayatri Projects is a nice cup and handle breakout. So it can head higher. Just looking at the long-term charts, yeah, it is kind of coming out from a long base. So this is a base of almost 8 months, 9 months. Okay, so that's it. I think thank you everyone. I hope you are trading with risk management. If you really want to learn, there are a lot of videos which I do every day at 11 o'clock. So it's all filled with learning. Go back and revisit them, and please learn. I'd really be happy to answer your strategy related questions than answering stock related questions. It doesn't really help me in any which ways to answer stock related suggestions, but yeah, I do get some ideas sometimes. But yeah, I hope you have a good evening and trade safe, and have a good week, good day tomorrow. And don't forget to like this video before you drop out, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. Okay, so see you tomorrow again. Thank you, and bye bye.